Mrs. Whitfield, go ahead. Do you have something?
I was wondering if we could still hear if Mr. Oswald had a presentation he was trying to give to us. I felt like that kind of got a little bit cut short. I don't want to make any more comments of my own, but I felt like if he had something he wanted to share, I just wanted to make sure we gave him that chance.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Oswald, did you have more? Because you were kind of cut off.
Yeah, if we could go back to that discussion item, we would like to wrap up around ESE students. We are scheduled to meet with each of the board members to review the state template with each of you tomorrow as well as Monday. We want to submit that. Dr. Sheffield has been working with Mr. McCormick, addressing the concerns for our ESE students. As Ms. Brill said, some of our students needs are able to be met better in a distance learning than others. And so we are making some adjustments to that. Dr. Sheffield, would you like to share some of what we're going to add in regarding our ESE students?
Yes, well, good evening. And Mr. McCormick is also on as well, so if we have additional questions. But in looking at the feedback, and of course, I'm talking with many of the board members I had an opportunity to speak with regarding this issue. In meeting with Mr. McCormick and the team, what we've decided is that also in stage 2, as we were talking about our ESE centers that will come back into stage 2, we also will be adding to that our self-contained students, which are our most students that requires the most intensive services. And also in stage 2, in adding that group of students, we will be opening up our schools for those students to receive their therapeutic treatments, physical therapy or what have you. And we will be able to do that via appointments and so forth. So if Mr. McCormick, if he wants to come in and he can continue with that discussion, want to make sure I didn't leave anything off.
Dr. Sheffield, you did cover it. The concern about bringing all back is the least restrictive environment issue, where students would, as Ms. Brill said, not be receiving the services that are on the current IEP because their general education peers wouldn't be back with them. So that's how we came to the conclusion of, in phase 2, ensuring our students in self-contained programs to come back to make sure that they get the services required that are on their IEP.
And Dr. Sheffield, you worked with legal counsel today as well, correct?
Yes, we did. We worked with the legal. Laura Pincus may be on. Thank you, Julianne. Julianne and her team has just been wonderful. After we went through the plan with executive cabinet, the state plan, the draft, and again, we're looking forward to sharing and reviewing that plan with board members tomorrow and on Monday. That was a big discussion, and we met afterwards to continue to talk about making certain that if we could take a deeper dive and look at the stages that we were bringing back all of our students, but most importantly, our ESE students. And this is where we are in terms of adding the self-contained group. And again, opening up the schools to where we can also open up for many of those therapeutic services, treatments, and so forth via appointments only. And of course, practicing social distancing.
As it relates to our seniors and that conversation, at this time, we want to keep that somewhat fluid till we get the data back from these questionnaires from our families and their intention of coming back on campus, as well as staff. So again, if we're able to accommodate, we will definitely add the seniors into stage 2, but we want to keep that somewhat fluid until we have more data on the questionnaire from what our intentions of our families. Our high school campuses are huge. They have many students, and to be able to accommodate the previous conversations around CDC guidelines, 6 feet distancing, we want to make sure we can have some time to be able to, phase that in.
So, Mr. Oswald, will your survey is going to include, so we'll be able to identify when the parents say, yeah, they want to send their kids back, which ones are seniors and not, so we have an idea how many seniors there are that want to come back?
Yes, they are tied to the specific students. So for all the community that will be listening, this will roll out on Monday, this questionnaire, and parents' intention when we do go into stage 2, their intention if they want to come back to bricks or mortar, or if they want to stay in a distance learning. We'll have better information, as well as from our teaching staff as well.
All right, thank you. I saw 3 hands, Ms. Brill, then Ms. McQuinn, and then Vice Chairman Shaw. Ms. Brill first.
Thank you, and thank you for the clarification on ESC. I think that will help a lot of people that are watching the meeting. I know that I've gotten some messages that people are really confused, when they hear us speaking and aren't really sure. So to that end, to the superintendent, the devil is in the details, and I'm not asking for you to present the actual template, but would you be ready next week, I guess as your COVID update or opening update, to share the details that are submitted so that the public will know, for example, if seniors will be, because it's going to have to be in our template, I'm assuming, with what you're submitting, unless I'm assuming wrong. But I would like the public, we're going to be updated ourselves this week and on Monday, but I would like to make sure that the public is updated. Would that be something possible?
I'm not sure at this time. I definitely want to get you guys through it first. I actually need to call the DOE about that. So let me get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, Dr. Fenoy. Ms. McQuinn, and then Vice Chairman Shaw.
This is just quick, and I'm clarifying for a parent who sent an email. So students, any student, if they don't want to return to bricks and mortar, we're giving them that option, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We are giving them that option.
Thank you. I was sure, just wanted to make sure I was right. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Shaw.
Thank you. Mr. Oswald, as part of the plan, if you give us an update on, and I don't think it's necessarily part of the plan, but how will we be managing the compliance with Stoneman Douglas and all of the drills and stuff at the same time once we do start getting back in school, so that we have some idea. And again, understanding that would be fluid. And the other comment, I forgot to say this at the beginning, at the League of Cities meeting today, the president of the League of Cities talked about the digital divide and the request that the district has made with the cities in the county to work on the Wi-Fi issue. Next Thursday, there's an issues forum, and that's the topic for the issues forum is that coordinated thing. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Shaw, and to the board, on Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, nothing has changed. They haven't waived anything. We are still required to do everything. And so Chief Kitzrow and his team have that worked out. Barbara remembers before she left to make sure a lot of our early compliance stuff was done. And so the team is still functioning in that capacity. And truthfully, we are still in the middle of a grand jury. So I'll just leave that right there.
Thank you, Dr. Fenoy. Mrs. Andrews, we may or may not have covered everything in your board discussion item, but you're up next, BRD4.
Thank you. I would like to say that, we were working last week until about 12:15, and Ms. Paul came on pretty late to talk with us about the operational piece of her plan. I've actually spoken with her personally. I think we need a little bit more detail, not just for this board, but for the people, for the parents and for the community. And lots of people are afraid to come back to the building. They want to know exactly how we are going to clean when we start thinking about the maintenance piece, the custodial piece, the buses, the cafeteria. When you look at all the food service, the environmental, I heard somebody in here say today about some kind of something that had to be in the filter. They're not cleaning the filters with the right kind of equipment, with the right kind of disinfectant or whatever. So we need a lot more detail into this. I think what would be nice for us to have is a presentation. It's going to be fluid. It's going to be changing. I'd like to know, since we may be coming back to the board room soon, Mr. Barbieri, you've seen it. You know what it looks like. I guess we have the petitions, how it's going to work with making sure we have everything that we need so that we won't get sick as we move forward. But the same thing for the schools. I think we need more information, and it needs to be constant communications with the students and their parents and the community. We want them to all come back. We don't want them to leave Palm Beach County. And the more we can show about how we're making sure that we keep them safe from the operational standpoint, it will be great. So I would like to see us have some type of presentation from the operational side with a few slides or whatever, so that we can kind of keep up with this. And then as it changes, because of whatever is going on and what we're doing if somebody gets sick, and how we actually work a school if someone gets the coronavirus, COVID-19, and how it would, what kind of things, the precautions we would do. A lot more detail to parents so that when they send their children back, they will know that we have most things in place. And it's a continuous conversation. So this is something I'd like to see us do, not just for us, but for the parents and the community.
Yeah, we will commit to, the team is absolutely working on all of those details. There's only one small hiccup. So Mr. Tierney will be working with Carol Bass on all of the workshop requests of the board as they continue to pile up. And so we will, that conversation is actually happening tomorrow. So we will put that on a list, and we will start working with the board during our one-on-ones around that priority list. Yes, ma'am, what we will do.
Go ahead, Mr. Sanders.
Yeah, it's not just for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Fenoy. I'm glad that you're going to work it with us too. But I think it needs to be out in the sunshine for the parents, because I don't want them to leave Palm Beach County afraid about whatever we're doing. They need to know how well we're working to make sure that the building and the facilities are going to be safe when the students return. So, I know we have a lot of workshops, but this is one that should take a little bit of priority, since, we don't know when we'll be getting in phase 2, but we want people to be educated way before then as to what kinds of things to look for as we begin to go back into the building.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, board members, is there any other discussion or anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, we're through with the agenda. Mrs. Anderson?
Yeah, I got one more discussion item. And Dr. Robinson, I heard you tonight talking about the health piece. We do need to get educated. When I look at the health director, Mrs. Alonso, giving those presentations to the county, we as a board need to get some presentations about what it is. The health, we're talking about metrics and when we're going to have kids come back, and we're looking at television and you get different kinds of information. You're talking to a lot of people with different information. I think as a board, we need to really be able to hear about how it is from somebody that we can rely on. And you have a health advisory committee, Superintendent Fenoy. I think this board needs to hear from them periodically so that we will be able to tell folks that we are getting educated on some of these issues as it relates to the health of our school district as well as our community.
So the only challenge with that is the Health Advisory Committee are a bunch of working professionals. And part of our original agreement was that the staff, we can present the findings. All the meetings are recorded. I can have those sitting in the board. You can view all of them. I can also have staff write up a summary of what those meetings occurred for the board. Right now, I'm just not comfortable asking those people to come in and present to the board. But I'll be glad for us to present any of that information. It's more of a working group. They are educating us as staff as to the language of some of this stuff means. And so right now we're focused on, they're helping us with metrics. They're helping us, with all of the different people, everything that the board has described today, that's what they're helping us with. But I can definitely commit our team to updating the board as we learn more from the Health Advisory Committee. I just can't commit to, because there's not a leader, there's not a chairman. It's a bunch of working professionals in the medical field who have volunteered to help us. But I can get all that information. I can make, again, Jay Bogus is doing a great job, and Dr. Maris, those meetings are recorded. I can have that for you. You just let me know, and I'll make sure that you get that information.
Just another question, if I can follow up, Mr. Barbieri.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
With our health director, Mrs. Alonso, she does present to the county commission, but it's too much to have her come to present to the school board?
No, I didn't say, I haven't asked her. So, I don't want to impose upon people until I have the conversation with them.
I do want to get all the information because we are being bombarded with a lot of questions about it, and so we can say that we're hearing it, but I'd like to kind of have the data, the information, as well as some presentations. The public needs to know.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, we can also, the actual meetings, I can have them placed on the website since they're done in the sunshine. So if the public wants to see any of those meetings, we can have those links. Again, the board, I can make sure that all your assistants have that information. So if you want to watch those meetings, you're actually also welcome to, you had to let us know, and we'd have to notice it if the board were to come, but you can participate and watch it. And so what we'll do is what I can do also is have Jay Boggins and his team after every meeting create the sort of summary to present to the board to educate you on what we're dealing with. But let me set some expectations. It is literally a working group. Like we debate. There's some again, and at times, as I stated at the meeting yesterday, because we met yesterday, honestly, there are times where it sounds like they're talking a foreign language, which I'm sure people who deal with educational professionals find that sometimes. So they're doing a good job of translating. Information is changing. The beauty of it is you have epidemiologists, again, public health officials, pediatricians, business people. There's a lot of people on there. But we're working through it. Our next meeting is actually slated for 2 weeks at 5 p.m. And so we will definitely try to do that, Ms. Andrews.
All right, thank you, Ms. Andrews. Dr. Robinson, Ms. McQuinn was first, and then Dr. Robinson.
I just want to say that, yes, I spoke earlier about my depending on Dr. Fenoy bringing us the recommendations from the Health Advisory Committee as he sees it appropriate to bring that. So I'm counting on that. So I think it's a great idea that people can just watch the recordings. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. And I want to say I've been part of this Health Advisory Committee, and I think it's fortunate for you because I'm bilingual. I speak medical and I speak education. So what's really happening is fascinating to me because I have had to tell physicians that they need to be really careful with their words in explaining things to educators, right? Because, okay, I just want to, but it's as if you have, it's as if you have a surgeon trying to write the reading curriculum, okay? I mean, it's that cross language, right? And so trying to get everybody to hear each other is like really a fascinating problem. But I think that once the group outlines the metrics that they think that should be followed and the benchmarks within those metrics, that I think the report every meeting that someone suggested would include the status of those metrics, right, in Palm Beach County, and including the school utilization. So once we know how many students can be held inside the building, we can say how many students are in there, right? And so then forecasting to see, when additional students can come in. I'm still going to fight about that 2 weeks thing, and I'm going to encourage Dr. Fenoy to take that to the Health Advisory Committee because it's much too long for me to explain now, but I just think that is a mistake. But anyway, so I think that we can probably get the information you want, Mrs. Andrews, through those reports. But at the very beginning, as I said earlier, everybody needs to have some education on what we do know about this virus. And then I have to caution my medical colleagues to be very cautious about the words they use so that they're not misinterpreted, right? But I would love to see that happen sooner rather than later because I could just imagine how it's swirling around, because it's not your world, but you have to make decisions based upon it. So,
and I think we can get there. And I know Jay's listening, so Jay, let's get these reports ready. But seriously, I would encourage the board before you get the reports to actually listen to the meetings. It'll help give you some context in the conversation.
All right, thank you, Dr. Robinson, Dr. Fenoy. If there's nothing else, I just want to take the opportunity. We should thank Mrs. Solnit, our lobbyist. I mean, she's been providing a lot of information for us, and I know we're being able to use to answer questions from parents. I mean, we get almost daily updates on which districts are starting at what time, so we know where we're at in the mix, as well as what districts have adopted plans and which districts haven't. So appreciate all the work that she's putting into it. And of course, she keeps us updated on what's happening in Washington, D.C. with the conversations that are going on there as our federal lobbyist. Mrs. Andrews?
Yes, and I'd like to thank Ms. Solnett because she is really on those Council of Great City School meetings with me and getting that data to us, very influential with the legislative piece. As you all know, that the Senate is back in session with the HERO money and the act, so that we hopefully will get some monies to come to our school district. So Mrs. Solnett has been a leader with the Council of Great City Schools, along with Mr. Burke, and trying to work through the legislative piece as well as the finance piece so that we can hopefully the Senate pass the HEROES Act, which will help the cities. And there's a portion of that money will come to the school districts.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. All right, unless board members, unless you have anything else, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Dr. Robinson, seconded by Ms. Brill. I hope there's no discussion on that. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Good night, everyone.